Drop a like and do share. Leave your comments and do not forget to subscribe for more videos.
What's up guys, this is Manoj Uptani. I welcome you all on behalf of the Edipedia world. So we were discussing about some of the relevant topics with relation to investigation and due diligence. This is the fourth video presentation in which I'll share with you guys a few more relevant topics with respect to this chapter. Fasten up your seatbelts, we are about to take off with the first topic of the day, and that will be how do we classify frauds. So before we start about and think about like moving towards the classification of frauds, let's understand what does fraud actually mean. So first of all, let's test about your knowledge. Okay, so guys, there is a difference between a fraud and error. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, what is that particular difference between the two? Think about it. So this is something which is very common. Okay, fraud is something which is being done as with the complete intention of doing it. Error is something which is done unintentionally. Okay, you simply go out in the market and you purchase something from it. Okay, you come back home and you just tell your mom that, mom, as you told me up, I just brought in these equipments from the market. Okay, and your mom is going to tell you, dude, come on, I asked you to bring that and you just bring on something else for the home. So in that case, you are going to tell your mom that, oh mom, I made a mistake. Okay, so this is something which is done unintentionally. Okay, now if I'll talk about fraud, okay, now this is something very much crucial for you guys to understand. You have your younger sibling, okay, who is very naughty, and you have got two toffees in your hand. Knowingly the fact that you already have two toffees and you can simply provide the same to your younger sibling, one toffee, rather than going for that option, you just removed one toffee from your hand and hid it somewhere else, and you just told him up or her that, dude, I've got just one toffee and I'm not going to share that with you. You did that with intention. Okay, this is something that's small cute fraud. Okay, this is something I just shared with you about two instances which normally happens in our each day life. If I'll talk about something with relation to the company, now this is something extremely big, okay, giant in itself. Be it about Satyam, be it about Enron, be it about Arthur Anderson. All these were the frauds which were done at humongous level. 7,000 crores was the amount which was being suffered in case of Satyam. Okay, fraud is something which is done as an intentional error which leads to the loss of the business. Fraud is going to include basically two classes. Number one, defalcations which involve misappropriation. About what? Misappropriation of either money or about the goods. Or second, you are willingly manipulating the accounts which are not defaulting, which are certainly not involving any kind of defalcation. Okay, you might not go for misappropriation of the asset or the goods, but you are manipulating the accounts, which is going to be considered under fraud as well. Now, moving on to what are the ways in which fraud can happen. I'll provide you some of the brief instances. Number one, fraud can happen by suppressing the cash receipts. You have already got the cash and you are just not providing the receipts again the same, and you are keeping that cash in your pocket, and while your boss comes in and asks you up, how much sale have you made for the day, you'll say, I just made 5. However, in reality you made 10. So by just not providing the receipts to the people around, by suppressing those cash receipts, you basically misappropriated with the cash that you receive from the customers. Number one, suppressing the cash receipts. Number two, inflating the cash payments. Your boss asks you up, how much payment did you make to that supplier, and you told them up, okay, I paid him 1000 rupees. However, in reality you paid just 500. Again, this is something that you are inflating your cash payments. Number three, manipulation of the suppliers and customers ledgers. Now you are increasing the supplier balances and you are decreasing the customer balances. Okay, now again, that is the manipulation that can be done. Number four, intervention in the stock records. You have got the complete inventory of, let's say, 10 lakh rupees. However, you intervene with those stock records and you mishandle those situations, and you like forged documents and provided for the closing inventory as just merely 5 lakh. Then this 5 lakh is going to be classified as a fraud. And lastly, window dressing. By window dressing, I simply mean what's not the actual picture, you are representing the same in your books of accounts. You are reflecting an altogether different picture, and this is something which will be covered under window dressing. So these are the ways in which fraud can happen in various areas. I hope you guys got the complete clarity as to how do we classify frauds. It's something which is done intentionally without to like purpose of defalcations or manipulation, and these were the ways in which that can be done. I hope I was able to provide you the best kind of clarity with respect to these basic common examples as to how you can classify the frauds. Perfect. Shall we proceed further, guys? We can. Perfect. Let's move towards the second topic of the day, and that will be how does fraud happens in cash receipts of the business, and how do you as an auditor need to investigate the same? This question was asked in C.A Final Examination for November 2007 and November 2012. So in itself, that says about that this question is extremely important. So guys, fraud in cash receipts that may happen in the form of holding back or omission of what? Number one, you're holding back or omitting your cash sales. Okay, again the same thing. You're just not providing the receipt to the persons around, and you are keeping the cash in your pocket and just not reflecting the same in your books of accounts. Number two, collection by the traveling salesman. Again, salesman is a person who is going to provide for products, okay, and in against the same they are going to collect the amount from the persons to whom they are selling the product. There might be a case wherein they actually don't provide any kind of discount to the person. However, they say while they return back to the office that they provided enormous amount of discounts in order to ensure that they are going to sell their products. So the collection by traveling salesman also can include the possibility of the fraud with respect to the cash receipts. Then there comes VPP receipts, casual receipts wherein that can happen. Sale of the scrap. Scrap is something wherein most likely there are the chances of getting the fraud involved in it. Okay, scrap is something because you don't have that specific price that you'll get against that scrap that you'll be providing to the customer. So there are chances that the scrap was actually being sold for rupees, let's say 50,000, and that person is going to tell you, sir, the scrap was extremely worthless and the person didn't provided me more than 25,000. So that can happen in that case. Now, recoveries out of the debt which has already been written off earlier. There was a person with whom you transacted, let's say Mr. Ram, and he went bankrupt. Okay, so apart from writing off the debt which you provided to him, you don't have any other option. So you removed his name from the debtor, and later on your one of the employee got to meet Ram someday, and Ram was very much willing and he was healthy and fine with respect to his business now, and he was able to provide him the amount. Okay, and that person is not going to reflect or didn't share that news with you as a boss. So the recoveries which are being made out of the debt which was already written off earlier, there is a possibility that the fraud may happen while the person is going to hold back or omit the same. This is the way with which fraud in cash receipts may be done in the form of holding back or omission of these things. I hope you guys got a complete clarity with respect to each and every thing over here. Moving on to the embezzlement. Embezzlement may be subsequently covered up. We are living in 21st century. We are living in digital age. We know how to get our things sorted. Okay, and if in case there is a person who has like done or involved himself or herself in any kind of fraud, there are chances that they have ensured that they take up each and every kind of measure while they cover up all the things. So embezzlement may be subsequently covered up by the perpetrator in various ways. Number one, issuing a receipt to the payee for full amount collected and entering only a part of amount on the counter file. There might be a possibility that you as a debtor, okay, you had Mr. Ram as your debtor. Mr. Ram provided you the entire amount, but you while sitting on the next chair, okay, you ensured that you were supposed to collect 1 lakh rupees from Ram. You got the same. However, while mentioning on the counterfoil and submitted it to the finance department, you only ensured that it's being written 50,000 over there. Now, this will record and reflect that Ram is still liable to pay 50,000, but in case actually Ram is just not liable to provide you anything. Why? Because he has actually delivered the complete amount, the complete consideration. So, number one, embezzlement can be done in that case. Number two, showing a larger cash discount than was actually allowed. You are selling, let's suppose, Surf Excel in the market. That Surf Excel is providing the maximum retail price of, let's say, 100 rupees. And while you provide door-to-door kind of things and incentives, usually the salesmen and the executives are supposed to provide some good discounts. They provided, let's say, 10 rupees as a cash discount, and the person willingly accepted the same and provided 90 in consideration of that surf excel. However, while showing on in the records, they provided that they had to provide larger cash discount, so they provided 30 rupees as discount on one item. So then again, it's going to be considered under embezzlement. Then adjusting a fictitious credit in the account of a customer for the value of goods returned by him. So you just provided a fictitious kind of credit in the account. Okay, that person is going to pay me later on. However, the person has already paid you the amount, but you have already like in the books of accounts, you have created a fictitious kind of credit on his name in your books of accounts that you are going to recover the amount in future. However, the person has already paid on the spot. So now you're creating a fictitious asset in your books of accounts. However, you have already got the payment and kept it in your pocket. Next, adjusting a cash sale as a credit sale. This is the same thing which I just told you of, and raising a debit in the account of the customer. This is the same thing which is going to happen. Next, writing off a good debt as bad and irrecoverable. Ram is very much healthy and fine. Ram is willingly providing you, let's say, 1,000 rupees. Okay, and you just intentionally you write off the kind of debt which was good. Ram is willing to pay, but you marked him as the bad and the irrecoverable debt, and the amount which you received from him, you just kept the same in your pocket. So again, that will be considered under embezzlement. Then short debiting of the customer's account in the ledger. Again, this is the same thing which can be done in various ways. Undercasting the receipt side of the cash book and overcasting the payment side. You are increasing your payments and you are decreasing your receipts. All these instances will be covered under embezzlement. I'm sure that you guys got the complete clarity with respect to how fraud can happen while you perform the cash receipts of any kind of business. Then what should be done in case you need to take care of all these evidences cautiously? Okay, how will you plan to investigate them? Number one, you need to collect the evidence. You need to collect the evidence on the income which is received from different kind of sources, and you need to scrutinize them. Babbage, stocks, sales summaries, rental registers, correspondence with customers, all these things. You need to verify the carbon copies of the receipts which are marked duplicate to confirm that they are in fact the copies of the receipts issued earlier. You need to examine the pay-in slips, okay, from the banks about their cash deposited each day. You need to compare them and the one which is being reflected in the cash book. So you need to keep your carbon copies of receipts. You need to collect the evidences. You need to examine the pay-in slips. You need to examine the records of the waste paper, packaging material, scrap sale, the collection of rents from the laborers who are permanently or temporarily residing in a place, refund of deposits. These are very much small things. They look small in your books of accounts, however they provide a long lasting impact. Okay, so this is something which you need to examine as a record. You need to vouch out for the cash sale. Cash is something which is extremely important for your business, and you need to ensure that cash sale should be like restricted as much possible as you can. Okay, why? Because this is something which is not encouraged by the government of India itself. Okay, so our dear Prime Minister Mr. Modi, he is also influencing the fact that we need to move towards the banking transaction tax and other aspects. Why? Because cash is something which can be creating problems in the future. So you need to watch out for the cash sale, because most of the time fraud is going to happen in that case. Next will be, you need to check about the recovery from the customers, whether the customers are going to provide you the amount or not, about their sundry parties. Then you need to review the deduction which is made on account of cash discounts that I told you of. And finally, you need to check all the kind of withdrawals from the banks which are being done by reference to the corresponding entries in the bank passbook. That is how you are going to investigate the matter. I'm sure that you guys got the complete clarity, and next time whenever you are visiting your auditing premise, you're going to check and take care of all these aspects while you cover your auditing. Perfect, guys. Let's move towards the next topic, and that will be, how can frauds in cash payments of the business be investigated? Lastly, I talked with you about the cash receipts. Now this is something with relation to the cash payments of the business being investigated. So number one, fraud in respect of the cash payments may be in various forms. What that could be, let's understand with the brief examples. Number one, making of double payment of an invoice. Okay, you booked up an invoice and somehow you made erroneously or fraudulently the double payment against that invoice. Okay, so this is being done intentionally. Okay, so fraud can happen on the same invoice while you make double payment of it as a cash payment. Number two, paying the personal expenses from business by falsifying details. Okay, you bought something for your home and you mentioned that I collected that for the sake of your business. Now you are paying off your personal expenses from the business by falsifying the details. Again, that is something with relation to the cash payment fraud. Then, withdrawing the unclaimed credit balances of the customers. Supposedly, you were supposed to receive. Okay, you were liable. Basically, you were liable to pay your your suppliers. Okay, but that supplier didn't turn up. Okay, maybe there was a shortfall in his business, or the business was ramped down, and he or she never came back to obtain the money. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're just going to embezzle the money on his or her behalf with respect to the cash payment by falsifying, like showing that you have made the cash payment to them. However, you have just not paid them. Okay, so you withdrew that amount on their unclaimed credit balances and you kept the same in your pocket. This is again going to be reflected as a cash payment fraud. Then, falsely adjusting a refund in account of the customer and withdrawing the credit balance, that will be on the same lines. And finally, wrong totaling of the wage sheet and misappropriating the excess amounts. You told on your wage sheet that you have already provided Mr. Ram, Mr. Sham 100 rupees. However, in reality, you just paid them a 50 rupees. Okay, you have mentioned the wrong totaling on the wage sheet, and by stating that you have paid 200, however, you have misappropriated the excess amount in that case. These are some of the instances in which fraud can happen with respect to the cash payment. Now, what you need to do? You as an auditor, you need to first of all investigate the matters with these basic checklist points. Number one, you need to scrutinize all the evidences as regards cash payments which are being made, including the acknowledgement by parties for payments shown to have been made to them. You need to scrutinize all those records. Next, you need to confirm what? You need to confirm the actual payment, actual amount being paid to the party directly from him, where a figure seems to have been erased or altered in the receipt issued by him. Adopt a very similar procedure in respect of amount acknowledged on blank papers. You need to confirm the actual amount which is being paid by the party, paid to the party basically. Next, you need to examine all the payments made by bearer checks. Evaluate the internal controls in this regard. This is a high caution area, guys, bearer checks, because that's not account payee. So bearer checks can be paid to any person. Next, recording of wages. You need to review the system of recording the wages, how the same is being recorded. There are n number of factories in our country, n number of plants in our country, and there are n number of people who are still unskilled laborers and workers. So there is plenty of chance that there can be embezzlement while you record of the wages. Okay, so you need to review that system of recording of wages, as there are chances of over totaling of wage sheets and entries to dummy workmen. Mostly in the government departments, it used to happen while 5 years or 10 years down the line. I'm sure that this may be happening like still in a few of the organizations, government organizations, that there is a person who is receiving the salary each month, but he or she is actually not existing. They are just on paper. Okay, so dummy workman case was usually one of the scams which was being done in one of the prominent states of India. I'm not going to share the name, that's for sure. So next, pay special attention to the payments which are being made on account of the salary and wages. Okay, you need to obtain the management confirmations that all the payments of such salaries and wages were made to the persons who are actually in service of that company or not. That's in correlation with the same point. Next, you need to analyze the system of ordering and receiving goods. Next, you need to analyze the system of recording and receiving the goods. You need to confirm that no payment has been made in respect of the supplies which have not been received. This is something which is very crucial. You need to obtain the confirmation from the partners, directors in respect of the amounts shown to have been paid to them. Vouch and total the petty cash book. Again, that is very necessary. You need to vouch and completely total the petty cash book. You need to have all your checks and balances with respect to the withdrawals of the fraud, with relation to the bank withdrawals from the bank, by referring to the entries in the bank passbook. And finally, you need to verify what? You need to verify the bills receivable or payable by reference to the bill books. So with this, I guess you guys got the complete clarity with respect to each and every aspect that I shared with you with relation to the fraud in cash payment. So all you need to do is just revise the topic, because that is something which is extremely crucial for you guys. With this, I'll be concluding my video with a dose of motivation, and that will be: believing in yourself is an endless destination. Believing that you have failed is the end of the journey. So you don't need to believe that you have already failed. Guys, believe in yourself and you'll go far, 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 extremely far. But if in case you believe that you've already failed, that's just the end of the journey. So please ensure that you don't fall into that trap. Thank you. On behalf of the Edupedia, while keep interacting via questions, queries and YouTube comment boxes. I would love to answer each one of your queries and grievances. Stay connected. That will help us in understanding your needs way, way, way better. I'll see you in the next presentation with some of the new fascinating topics. Till then, keep enjoying your life. Love you all. God bless. Take care. Bye.